everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm PJ. I hope you're well. Today's video is going to be a mishmash of me taking stock of the items that I've been using a lot this first half of 2024. Discussing and thinking out loud, or like analyzing my interesting spending habits, or like my vicious cycle of how I kind of spend money and then feel a bit angry with myself for spending the money, and then also mixed into it basically thinking about what I want to carry on using for the second half of 2024, as well as improvements or changes that I want to make to things for the second half of 2024. So I thought it would be a good time to do this video, even though we're only at the beginning of June. So strictly speaking, there's still a few weeks to go, but I'm going to be quite busy at the end of this month, and I just don't think I will have time to record anything. And I also think my journaling habits are not gonna shift that much, that what I am, like my opinions that I have today are gonna change drastically until, you know, at the end of the month, or like bang in the middle of the year. So I'm gonna record it now, and I hope you enjoy it. So this is going to be quite a chatty video. I apologize in advance if I may be a little bit jumpy in my thinking, or if in my kind of presentation in this video, because I have an idea of where I want to get to, and major thoughts are in my head already, but I feel that sometimes when I think out loud, I might be a bit jumpy, so apologize for that in advance. Okay, so let's start with talking about the things that I've purchased this year. And I kind of wanted to start, actually I need my journal. I kind of wanted to start talking about a little about my my kind of journaling style for anyone who is new here. Sorry, I'm jumping already, right? With my like two journals, I can't decide which one I want to show you first. So I'm going to show you my traveler's notebook, and I'm showing it because to me, how I journal in here is quite me. So I think this is like innately my style, and I don't really do that much memory keeping, and I also really don't do dear diary entries that much, because it's not really something that I want to read or be reminded of. Because if I think about it, or maybe if you think about it as well, I don't know, but for me, I would only really ever put anything in that is really good, like really exciting, something was really, really nice and I was really happy on that day, or I'll put in something that is really not good. And I think happy times that I experience, I will remember anyway without having to put it down on paper. So therefore, if I flick through my old journals, I would just be looking at pages, or like, you know, rants of like negative stuff that I really don't want to be reminded of. So it doesn't really make sense to me to kind of repeat that and kind of make myself experience it again, once by writing it, and then once maybe potentially reading about it. Not necessarily in many years' time, because I actually don't go back to my old journals that much either, but you know, it could catch my eye, like, you know, 2 months down the line when I'm flicking through my journal and it's like June and I've seen something in March. So that's that. So I'm fairly, if you can call it, fairly minimal. And I would use washi tapes in particular to actually use them to stick things down. So I was very much wedded to the MT brand of washi tapes, because their sticking power is just so much better compared to a lot of other brands. And you can see it here, like some of the other brands, they kind of start peeling, and I think it works fine for kind of design washies, but if I wanted to use a washi to keep things in place for a for the foreseeable future, I don't want it to start peeling in the corners, because then it just also looks a little bit unsightly. So my journaling journey has started quite like more than a decade ago, and I think I've developed this style over the years, and I have been very, very careful up until the beginning of last year not to get involved or influenced by I guess the online journaling community. Nobody like within my friends group, or like locally to me, or like not locally to me, none of the acquaintances that I have in my life journal. So there wouldn't have been any influences from there. But I was very careful not to be influenced by others, just so I can develop my own thing. So this kind of has developed throughout the years. And then there was another reason why I didn't want to join the online community, and it is that I know I will then have FOMO and would want new things all the time, which is what this video is going to be about. So this is basically how my style is, and what I do to my TNs. I cut away their own, their branded kind of monthly dates, and I usually replace it with another piece of paper, or sometimes I take an entire week out. Here I've done scallops, and then, or like a scalloped edge, and then I would insert a completely different kind of paper in there and things like that. So that's kind of what I would call my innate journaling style. And then after I joined Instagram last year, I fell down the Hobonichi, slippery slope. And I have started using character washi, which is something that it was so far away from my style and what I wanted to have or to use, that it just was never even it's just never something that I considered. However, I got introduced to TCMC by a very dear friend, and she has the most amazing washi collection from Helen, and then I basically fell in love. And also because I basically was really, really influenced. I think you can see it that in here, that I would do what a lot of people do in the Hobonichi by decorating parts of the page, whether it is at the bottom, which is I think the most common way people do, or whether I would decorate somewhere else, and sometimes I would do vertical decor, if I can find an example. Like here I would do like decor down the sides. I basically was really influenced to replicate what I saw in my Hobonichi, and because of that, I felt the need of having to have new washi, new stickers all the time, because I wanted each page to look as unique as possible. And actually last year my pages, I wouldn't combine two different brands together. So here I have two brands. I have, I think, some sort of fern and then it's this brand here, a Nirette design. So I didn't used to do that actually last year, but this year I've realized, I've used my brain and I've realized actually, if you combine brands, if they work together quite well in terms of their style or color or whatever, at least then you can have different combinations, and you can use the same washi over and over again and create something different each time. However, basically I think this particular style of using the Hobonichi has sent me down the consumerism route of wanting to buy new things all the time. And with washis, or with anything really, as soon as I felt I'd broken the seal of like being strictly functional, or strictly functional tape, or strictly empty tape because of their sticking power, I'm like, oh well, I've bought that tape, I might as well buy this one, right? Because I mean, what difference does it make if I have a couple of more washi tapes? But then there's also the risk, which I'm so guilty of doing, is like you want to try and hit free shipping, which is so stupid, but it does work. And also, free shipping is never free, right? We know that. We know that. Yet, for some reason, mentally, we still go, oh, it's free shipping. Therefore, let me just hit the minimum spend. And I always then overbuy because, if I were strict with myself, I only probably wanted 2 washi rolls. But then, I have to buy a few more just to hit that minimum, and then you buy it, and then it's just there, and you may not love it as much as you thought you did. And there's also another thing that I feel is you kind of think, oh, I can definitely make it work. And yes, you can make it work, but is it worth having a whole roll of it just because you could make it work as a combination, and it might, So I definitely have that issue as well, where I'm like, oh, okay, I need both of these grid tapes. I need the darker one and the lighter one because they serve very different purposes. But in the end, actually, I haven't really used this darker one that much because it is just not the right shade of brown. It's a bit too red and doesn't go with that many things. So yeah, so I really need to slow down on those. And my plan now is to I obviously know what I kind of like and what I don't like, and I have started. If you follow me following this channel for a little while, you might have watched a video of me talking. I think my April flip through, maybe it was. Actually, maybe I should go back to April, shouldn't I? Of me basically starting to customize my Hobonichi pages like I would be customizing my traveler's notebook pages. So I will cut pages out, either entirely out, and then add on a different type of paper, or I might be cutting out just the section here and then inserting another piece of paper, or just putting an entirely new page on here. So knowing that that's my style, I also now know I probably won't use these designer washies that much. So my rule now, or my plan for the next 6 months of the year, is that I shall allow myself carte blanche for any of Salam Creative's designs or TCMC's design washies. So I allow myself to buy those. The TCMC is basically because I've signed up to Helen's subscription, so I don't want to stop that. So the washies are gonna keep coming. And then for I'm trying to learn Agnes, so like the Italian pronunciation of Agnes, which is the English pronunciation of the name. So I'm trying to learn Agnes and try and use that less like this, more fluidly than I'm trying to do now, because I'm really, really self-conscious about mispronouncing it. But Agnes, she has said that it's fine, like if I mispronounce it, and she's happy for me just to use Agnes, but I kind of want to try and get it right. So anyway, I love Salam Creative and TCMC for the 2 women that are behind it, and the fact that they're small, not small, independently run, female-run businesses. So I really want to support them. I think they're both extremely kind humans as well. And I also just like Agnes's design, I just absolutely love. I think she's hitting the balance of cute and actually quite like refined and grown up really, really well. Helen's stuff is definitely very cute, and it is such a departure from how I do my traveler's notebook. But I kind of really enjoy these emojis now, and I have like, oh, this is Pepsi, my cat. Say hello to Pepsi. So I am really enjoying exclusive TCMC pages, or like Salam Creative pages, or a combination of both of them together. So I think I will allow myself to buy their washi without restriction, but any other washi I will not purchase any more this year. So no more washi for me. Obviously, if somebody gives me some for my birthday or like Christmas or, you know, off my wish list, that's something else. But I will not buy any more washi this year, and I will also not buy any more pet tape or full pet tape rolls, because for the last month, so for the month of May, I have been just using up all of these pet tape bits and bobs that I have been that I've been using for since last year, basically just random bits of pet tape. And previously I cut them shorter, like a single loop repeat samples. I've cut them smaller and put them in here. So I've been just using these up, and I haven't, of all the full pet tape rolls that I own, I have yet to cut a second loop from them to use. I have not finished a single loop of all of the pet tapes that I have, so I really don't need to buy any more, which is why I'm not going to buy any more pet tapes this year. But if I were to buy them next year, hopefully, if I haven't changed my opinion or mind or whatever by then, but I will just buy a single repeat, single loop repeat, because there is no need for me to have the same things again, like the same motifs again. I just don't think that's what I like. And I also know that my taste and my obsessions fluctuate so much, like they change so much, that by the time, you know, I'm due to start a second repeat of a roll, I'm probably bored of things. So yeah, so that's my plan with pet tapes moving forward. But definitely I would say, unless I really like a particular design and it's offered as a single loop, I will not buy any pet tape anymore this year, because I have enough. So that's that. That's really good. I'm really happy about this conclusion and the plan going forward. And now I kind of want to talk a little bit about fountain pens. And I forgotten that I've bought this Kaweco. This is the DIY Kaweco, and I kid you not, I forgot that I had it until I was pulling out all of these items for this video. And this is really bad, isn't it? Because this is actually the whole point of this Kaweco DIY, is that you've assembled it yourself, which I did. But I can't believe I forgot that I had it. So with my fountain pens, the thought is that I will not buy any more. This is going to come across a bit rude. Maybe. I will not buy any more gimmicky stuff. So for example, these two Kaweco and Hello Kitty collaboration, Hello Kitty 50th anniversary pens. Why did I buy them? I'm not even a huge Hello Kitty fan. I think I bought them because some years ago Kaweco released like a lilac aluminium sport that I really liked in terms of the color of, which is actually, I think, a little bit more intense and more beautiful than this particular lilac shade. But I think FOMO, because I've missed out previously, I felt like, okay, I'm gonna get both of them just in case I feel like I'm missing out again. But I haven't used these two. Probably won't be using them because the ink capacity in the Kawecos are just too small, and I think they are just a little bit gimmicky. They're just a little bit small for me to, I guess, want to maybe invest. Maybe that's the word, like invest in them. And yeah, I probably won't use like this one. I don't know what to do. So that's those two. And then coming to these two. If you have seen a previous video of mine, you might have experienced my on-camera wobble when I did an unboxing of the Traveler's Notebook standard cover. That was the Tokyo edition. That was a big ticket item. that I've ordered at the same time as ordering this Esterbrook ST pen and this bespoke leather cover. So 3 really expensive items ordered in quick succession of each other, made me kind of scared by how much money I spend, and the fact that the standard Tokyo cover I probably won't be using anytime soon. I'm not sure. And this pen here, I haven't inked up yet either. And it's partly because I would like to think that I'm not a person that babies their stuff, but I actually do. And I think it's because I just can't, I think I wouldn't forgive myself by using something and then maybe being a little careless and then breaking it way too prematurely, if that makes sense. And I think my issue with fountain pens to use them daily is that I use fountain pens at work, and it's very natural for and very normal actually for like my colleagues to want to try the pen just to see how it writes, and it's a very natural thing to like want to try. And I wouldn't be able to say no to them. I'm like, no, 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 no. This is a fancy pen. Like, I don't want you to use it just in case, you ruin the nib, which is kind of my fear, right? Because we all write differently. We hold the pen differently. We put different pressures, on the pen nib. But it's way too rude for me to say no. so, so basically, I don't really like. So this is my second Esterbrook, and my previous one was also a needlepoint nib. So it's a very, very fine nib. It gets ground down from fine. So it's finer than a extra fine. And I cannot remember now whether that needlepoint nib was scratchy straight out of the box, because that was my first needlepoint experience, or whether I broke it by writing on copy paper, which is the paper that I mostly write on when I'm at work. You print something out and you write on it. So that paper, I think, causes issues with your nibs if they're too fine, which is why I predominantly use my Lamis, also because they have like a broader nib. Because the finer the nib, they tend to be a bit more scratchy anyway, just because it's a pointier amount of metal that hits the page. But copy paper is much rougher in terms of its surface than Tomori River paper, or even, traveler's notebook paper, the Midori paper. And then the rough surface plus the longer fibers really clog up your nib, and I'm just worried that it will break my pens. And that kind of leads me to something else that I think might be the issue. So I don't necessarily think is entirely the quantity of items that I accumulate that bother me. That's definitely part of it, because nobody needs this much ink. So this crate I brought out just to show you how much brownish colored ink I have, and like most of them are full, like not most of them, but I have quite a few full bottles, and I have multiples of these crates with different for like different ink color groups. So it's definitely, one part is that I don't like the fact of how much quantity I have of things that I basically won't be able to finish. Like, there's no point, like no way I will be able to finish all this ink. And then the other thing I think is also spending power. Like, I don't feel too upset having like some of these washi tapes sit here not being used, because they are, single digits in terms of how much they cost, so they're not breaking the bank. But obviously this pen is not single digits, so I think I'm partly also upset with myself for basically spending loads of money, locking it up in one item, and then not using it just seems very silly. Which leads me to another point. So plan is that I hopefully won't buy another pen this year. I can't say for sure, because I'm kind of interested to see what the tea time pens are this year, because I do have some of the tea time pens, and yeah, so I might be waiting to see what those designs are, whether I like it or not. And I'm thinking of getting a Yozeka Sailor exclusive pen, you know, like the collaboration that they have, but I'm not sure. Um, so, but I think I want to be very conscientious about which pens to get, and I think I will stop buying Cavecos, and I also think I will stop buying Lamis. I have a lot of Lamis. They are kind of my workhorse pens because I literally take them to work all the time and use them. Um, but again, I don't need that many of them. Like the ones that I have serve a perfect purpose, and I do have like random weird duplicates. Like I have two very similar oranges, and I really don't need them. And those oranges actually, some like sorry, slightly sidetracked here, but the aluminium Lamis are actually really annoying because there's the color is just the coating. So they scratch, and once they scratch, the color is gone, and that's really annoying. And actually, that probably, I think, proves my thinking of that part of my being really annoyed and being overwhelmed by my consumption is the amount something costs. So like if my Esterbrook scratches, I would be so sad about it. But my Lamy aluminium pen scratching, even though they're also not cheap, hasn't really bothered me that much. I actually, with my Lamy pens, I just chuck them in my bag. It's that bad sometimes. Like I'm not babying them at all. So I think it is like a spending power thing. You know, I think if I had the spending power of like a pen would be like a washi tape roll, then obviously I probably wouldn't baby this one. Oh, but I don't know. So yeah, moving forward, I'm going to be very careful about what I spend. And I think by just cutting back on willy-nilly washi tape purchases, and actually also sticker purchases, I will not buy any more stickers unless it is Salem Creative and TCMC. Those two ladies are an exception to everything. Yeah, and then no more inks either, because yes, I don't need any more inks. They're totally fine. And then lastly, what I wanted to talk about is the stuff that I've actually used and that I've enjoyed using and that I will very likely carry on using the next half of the year. So I have, around February or March, I have started a little tracking system in this turning the page, double page in my Hobonichi. And the idea I got from Dandelion Diaries. And she's done something really similar, but hers is way more complex than mine. I'm just tracking like a few things, but I'm really enjoying it. I write in it, or I track it more or less every day, or I might forget a day, but then I'm definitely going back straight the next day to fill it in. And so what I have done is I've used 3 colors for my graphs that track tiredness, sleep hours, and how stressed I am, because I just wanted to see whether they link. I don't think they necessarily link that much. But silly me at the time picked 3 different pens. And I picked 3 different pens because I thought they're different in color, and also because I wanted to use a fountain pen for one of them. Not that it makes any difference. Like I'm only making little dots, so you can't really tell that it's a fountain pen. But it has been really annoying me that every time I want to complete this chart, I have to like pull out 3 different pens. So I'm gonna get rid of these, and I'm gonna replace those with this Hobonichi Uniboard Jetstream, because it also has 3 colors and it's more or less the same 3 colors. So that's great. So that's only 1 more pen, and I can leave it in here, and it's perfect. I will keep going with this dot pen, which makes, instead of it making a round dot, it makes a square dot, because the little spongy bit that makes the dot is square. And it's a really great size because it just sits within the Hobonichi grid, and I think it's a nice shape to add to my tracker. So I have like these little round dot stickers that I make myself with my ink. and I chopped these tiny little iridescent stickers that are kind of wonky little squares or rectangles, and I think it's just really nice having like round stickers, wonky stickers, and like square stickers. So I'll keep going with those, and then I'm going to have to decide, or maybe I will use them interchangeably. I really enjoy the writing experience, like the gel experience of the Uniball P pens. And I have used only those, or only that pen in my traveler's notebook. So I kind of want to keep the second booklet of the year the same with black ink. But I'm also thinking that maybe I should get a black ink, which is, okay, sorry, it's an exception to my ink no spend, because I actually don't have black ink. But yes, so maybe I'll get a black ink and ink up one of my pens and use that interchangeably or instead of this Uniball to do all the other kind of black line things that I do, because I have another tracker which is like a habit, like more of a habit tracker, because I track my vitamins, reading, knitting, and studying. But I've been using the Uniball P for now, but maybe I should make use of this pen so I feel less guilty of having it. So that would be that. And then I'm going to carry on with these two highlighter pens from Muji. One is called Smoky Apricot and the other one Olive Green. And I use these two to track, it's basically the same tracker as in here, but I track my exercises and habits. And I think I'm going to keep these two because they're nicely contrasting colors and it looks quite nice. So then I basically cut down on 3 pens that I don't need anymore, and just use like the most important. So I would have like 6 different pens, which I think is acceptable to use across 2 books. And then lastly, actually, let me put this over here. Some of my like tools of the trade, tools of the journaling potato. So scissor, ruler, tweezers, and scalpel, and a cutting mat. I've bought a small one for potentially to use it for traveling, but if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen loads of pictures that I use this as a background for. Oh, so yeah, if you're new here to my channel, I also have an Instagram, and I'm the journaling potato there as well. So if you wanted to have a look and maybe follow, I would really welcome that, and thank you if you are going to do so. Yeah, so these 4, they're kind of the workhorses for like each journaling session that I do. I use literally every single one of them each time I journal. And the weird thing is that I don't want to replace them. I don't have the urge of wanting to find another pair of scissors, even though I do have a bunch of what I like to call my travel scissors. So they have like a sheath that kind of protects the like pointy parts, things like that. But I don't feel like I need like to try and improve things or get another one, because there are so many beautiful like scissors designs out there, and I'm sure some of them have a better cutting power than these ones, but I've had these for a long time, and I'm just quite happy with it. I've gotten used to how they cut, I've gotten used to the shape and the size. So yeah, it's really weird that I don't want any more of these, but like for some reason I want more fountain pens that I don't use often enough, that are significantly more expensive. I don't know, maybe fountain pens are a bit more like candy, and like, I don't know, these tools a bit more like, I don't know, toothbrushes or something like that, so you don't feel the urge of wanting more. So yeah, so these are stuff that I use all the time, and then as well as my cutting mat and these 2 sticky things. So I'm actually going to come out of this one as soon as I finish this, and I'm going to swap back to a brand that is yellow in color, and it's I think called Yuhu. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's spelled U-H-U. And yeah, I prefer, so Yuhu has a dotted, like a dotted sticky, like the sticky pattern is dots, rather than like fully like a sheet of it like tape, if that makes sense. So the glue particles, the adhesive particles are already in tiny little dots, which means that they come off much neater than this tape, which I think it might be user error. I don't know. Sometimes when I roll it, it just, not the whole width comes out, like the sticky tape doesn't come off. And then it also, when you're not careful, when you release it, it makes like a little blob there, and that's really unsightly when you stick things down, because it makes like a little bump. So yeah, I'll switch out of this, but I definitely always use like a glue tape, and I use Scotch tape as well. Just, this is a matte version of the Scotch tape, and I use this a lot. So these few items are kind of like essentials that I use. I've taken this out, but I actually don't use it that much. This is for your wrap-on stickers, but most of the times I use my nails. This one I've pulled out just because at the beginning of the year I've used it a lot by changing my ink every day in almost every day in my Hobonichi, but I haven't used it, in the last couple months. So this is it. This is basically my thoughts on my spending, and a little bit of a vicious circle that I find myself in, of wanting new things, but then also feeling really guilty when I sense that I've overspent, which generally, if you buy a pen, you probably have overspent. As well as just talking through the stuff that I use all the time, and my plans of fixing my, I guess, feeling guilty of spending money, and hopefully just spend a lot less in the next 6 months. Yes, so I hope you found this interesting, and I hope I haven't rambled too much or jumped too much. Yeah, I hope you found it an interesting watch. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back to see more of my videos, and for subscribing. I will see you in maybe 2 weeks here on YouTube, and I will see you sooner on Instagram if you wish to check my account out over there. So thank you again, have a nice day, and I see you soon. Bye bye.